The champ is here.
We will definitely not shut up and dribble.
The champ is here. I must be the greatest. The champ is here.
I'm going to continue to stand with the people.
The champ is here.
I will not lose.
I'm a bad man. I shook up the world.
Yes, welcome. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you were here with we. My name is EJ, and I got my man.
MH.
Yes, he is the DB of the show, and we are Black in Sports, giving the voice to the culture that won't shut up and dribble. Here, bringing the best professionals in the game and in the boardroom, laughing at it all, covering it all, while providing a platform to be heard. So without further ado, man, you know how we do it. We jump right into the mix, and we want to welcome our guests. So in no particular order here, all right? He's a dad, former hooper, man of God, author, coach, overall developer of talent. So he says, man, he's going to take that raw skill and get you right. So a consultant helping athletes discover, dedicate, and dominate. You know, they want to do it both mentally and physically. So owner of Discover Training, clap it up for the transformer himself, Mr. Chivas Miller. Clap it up. Let's go.
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, welcome, man. Thank you so much for the time, man. Absolutely, man. You're real flexible, and you know that training is like it's never off season when it's training, right? You train during season,
exactly, man.
During the off season.
Hey, that's why we had to push it back a little bit, man.
Absolutely. So
I was sprinting home from the gym.
We appreciate you.
Yeah.
Well, hey, man, how we like to start the show is the shoot your shot moment, man. And this is where we ask all of our guests, kind of like an icebreaker, is what was a shoot your shot moment? All right. And we make sure we tell the guests, you can't give me that, oh, I always shoot my shot. And just because you're a hooper, you can't be like, oh, when I'm on that court, give us the real shoot your shot moment. Could have been you won, could have been you lost, or what we like to say is learned the lesson. But give us that shoot your shot moment.
Man, my shoot my shot moment would have been, I would have to say, my freshman year in college. The shoot the shot moment for me was at the time, the head coach basically said I would never get 8th or 9th off the bench in college. You know, throughout the whole time in college, he's like, he don't have no plans for me, and I would never get 8th or 9th off the bench to only me become the 6th man by the end of my freshman year. That's so, you know, with that being the case, you know, it's one of them things that, you know, knowing that I was doubted throughout, and with me being doubted throughout, it was one of them things that you know, I just stayed focused, man. I stayed focused on what I wanted, and I didn't allow the naysayers, even though it was my head coach, I didn't allow him to be able to, you know, deter me. So for me, once I overcame that, man, I felt like the sky was the limit for me in college.
Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, the coach probably could have used the adult version of you. Talk about player development. I'm like, dang, you ain't gonna never develop past this part of the rotation. That's wild.
Yeah. No, it was discouraging, but it was also fun at the same time. And the reason why I say that is because for me, like, I'm big on proving doubters wrong, and so with me being big on proving doubters wrong, it was one of the things like, oh yeah, bet. You don't think I'm gonna do it? I'm gonna show you. You know, I'm gonna show you I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, for sure. So where does your love for sports start?
I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know. Yeah, I think I've always I think I've always loved it. You know, I actually started out playing football as a second grader. You know, and played football second, third, and fourth grade, second, third, fourth grade, then took it off because my parents said I could only play one sport at a time.
Oh, it wasn't that drill? It wasn't that drill that makes a lot of basketball players become basketball players?
Nah, man. Nah. It wasn't nothing, man. It's just and me being competitive too. I think what happened is my aunt and uncle at the time used to whoop up on me. I'm in the backyard. And so with them doing that, you know, it kind of gave me that drive and desire. And for me being a smaller guard, basketball was more of a challenge than football. And so with that being the case, man, you know, I could have went pretty far with football, but it was a little bit on the easier side. And I'm the type, y'all, that unfortunately, and I hate that I even have to say this, but like, if I have the easy route and the hard route, I'm always take the hard route just because I'm a competitor. Like, so, so I chose basketball, man, because it was more of a challenge. I wanted to be the Muggsy Bowles, the Spud Webbs of the NBA.
Let's go.
Yeah.
So football first love, is that just because of the region you grew up in, or would you say that's the first love, or what's kind of the?
I think it was the first love because it was the first flyer I got from school. I mean, you know what I mean? Like I never forget, man. It was a yellow flyer with black lettering on it.
Wow.
And I they came around and passed out flyers, and I read it. I was like, man, I think I want to do this. And so I ran home to my grandmother, and she just put her head down. She was like, I this is the day I dreaded that you would want to play football. And so, I mean, she let me play, man. I mean, and it worked out. It worked out for me because I think me starting out playing football and it being a physical sport, like as a basketball player, I wasn't afraid of contact. And I actually sound kind of crazy, but I kind of accepted contact. And I wanted contact. Like,
yes,
I remember at times in college, man, like driving past somebody, like they would try to get out my way, and I'll purposely stop and like give them a shoulder, then keep going.
Love it.
No, I feel that.
Yeah.
So growing up, born in Fort Smith, or just that was a time? And is Fort Smith, Arkansas, bigger or smaller than Batesville?
Fort Smith is bigger. Fort Smith is bigger than it's bigger than Batesville, man. That's where I was born and raised at, man. The backstory on me is, so I actually growing up, I suffered from seizures and asthma growing up. And so I even had to repeat the first grade. Not because I was dumb, but because I was hospitalized and sick so much to where I didn't meet the minimum days of going to school. And so, so with that being the case, my mom was actually trying to go to OU and raise me at the same time, and she couldn't afford insurance. And so my grandparents basically agreed to take me in. And then once my mom was done with school, the plan was for me to move back with her. But by the time she was done, man, I was like 4 or 5 years old, and I had made a home in Fort Smith. And so she even tried to come to Fort Smith and stay, but it was just too small for her. So she moved to Tulsa, which is where I reside now. And then what I would do is I would come up during holidays. If we'd have a week out of school, I would come up and visit her and my sister. And then in 2007, man, I finally just moved up here with her right before my senior year in college.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of like the backstory and and as far as my life goes.
So growing up, let's stick really quick before we get too far on your high school days, man. So Southside High School, huh?
Yes, sir.
I'll ask you a question, and I may be wrong, but are you a rebel or are you a maverick?
No, I'm a rebel, baby. I'm a rebel all day. Hey, I don't know what they got going on with the Mavericks. I mean, from what I'm told, like it was more of got changed due to some racism issues. But man, forget that. Forget all the racism stuff, bro. I'm a diehard rebel. We had our 20-year reunion not too long ago, and we were talking about that. Man, what's this Maverick stuff? They tried to get us to buy, a Maverick shirt, and I'm like, no, I want a rebel shirt, man. I'm a rebel. Yeah, I'm a rebel all the way, man. I love diehard rebel.
I love it. And with that, man, does the Battle of Rogers Avenue still exist? Did you play in that, or did that come after you?
Oh no, that was
it.
oh, bro, that was the thing. Like yes, like it was a thing so much to the point to where by the time I became a junior, we could no longer have it at one of the high schools. We had to have it at the local college.
Oh wow.
Like that's how packed it would be. Yeah. So and when we would have it at one of the high schools, like it was literally standing room only to point to where you take the ball out of bounds and somebody can tap you on the butt or tap you on the leg. And they just be right there talking to you.
Talking trash.
Yeah. Like growing up, those games were for us as kids. Those games growing up was what we go to and what we aspired to be. Like, man, I want to play in this game one day.
That's awesome, man. ESPN, I think, had the school kind of talking about like that rivalry is one of those classic rivalries in sports.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mitch.
Yeah, what was your best game in the rivalry?
My best game, man, was I want to say it was my senior year. I ended up with like 14 and went like 5 for 7 from the field, and we ended up beating Northside. And I was talking trash because as far as Northside goes, that's where all my family went, and I ended up going the opposite. I only had 2 cousins to go to Southside, and so I was kind of like the black sheep of the family, So yeah. But no,
Like you
it was.
said, you want to take the rough road, huh?
Yeah, man. Hey, listen. I want all the smoke, EJ. I want all the smoke. Give it to me, baby. Give it to me. Yes. Yeah.
So give us a quick scouting report on your game in high school.
So in high school, man, I was actually, believe it or not, because our team was a smaller team, I actually had to play like the 2 or 3. And so it wasn't until I got to college when I started playing point guard more. But my game, man, I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. In high school, man, I was a shooter. I couldn't really handle the ball. I wasn't going left, finishing with my left hand, man. I was one dribble pull up, catch and shoot from the 3. But I was lucky because I had some really good point guards. That lived in the lane and was able to give me a whole bunch of open shots. So I ain't gonna lie to you and say that like I was just that dude. I could play, I could shoot and stuff like that, but I didn't really begin to develop until later on in college.
Nice. So let's jump into that, man. So how did the recruiting process go for college, man? Because you are going, and I'm a butcher the name of the college.
Yeah.
But what's it? Bacone?
College? Yeah, Bacone College. Yeah.
And it was an Indian school or something like that?
It was. No, it was. Yes, it was an Indian school.
Give us that recruiting. Like, how did that happen? How did that get you?
Here's the thing, man. Like, and once again, I have to say this, but like for me, I could have went to a better school than that, but nobody told me how important ACT was. So y'all, what I did was, check this out, EJ. What I did was every time I had to take it, bro, I was just trying to do designs. So like if you get 50 minutes to take the math part, I was done in maximum 8 minutes. And I'm like, dang, what's taking them so long? Like,
you do an ABBA, CBDEAZ?
Man, hey, trying to make letters and everything. Oh, that looked like a D. Like, you know what I mean? Like I was on that type of stuff, man. And like, so it wasn't until after I got done when one of my friends told me, like, bro, you might want to take that ACT seriously. And I'm like, well, dang, so yeah.
We'll definitely get into that when we get into your pro stuff, right? I mean, what you do for your career, because you have to be telling these kids how important this. Because you talk about physical and mental. So
So interesting backstory. We went to a team camp, actually at TU, Tulsa University, and so like I did like really well, And at this time, I was going into my senior year, and so I was actually playing. I was playing more point guard at that time. Because during the summertime, like it was weird because during AAU season, like I played point guard, but then when I come back, I would have to play the 2 or the 3. So, which we'll talk about that later, but that actually served as a good thing for me as I got to college. But so I did really well at TU, and then when I after we came back from the TU camp, the TU coach had called and asked about me. And was like, pretty much, man, I have to do well on the ACT. Now, here's the sucky part. I didn't hear that TU was even interested in me until after basketball season, after I done tricked off my future with the ACT. Then that's when I got told, oh yeah, man, TU actually called about you. I'm like, man. So we're going through it, man. I trick off the ACT, and I mean my recruitment just kind of goes silent. My junior year and early on, I used to go to the Arkansas camps, and so my actual goal was to play for Nolan Richardson, is who I wanted to play for. And I went to one of his camps, man, and he was interested. Nolan was big on defense, and so I was a defensive player. I was a D&3 even before D&3 existed. Like I was more of a D&3 guy back then, and so he was interested, and man, that kind of once he left and Stan Heath came on, it kind of drained me because I was like, man, I grew up all these years watching Nolan, wanting to play for Nolan, for him to just leave, man. I kind of felt a little bit abandoned. I'm like, dang, Nolan, man.
Like you leave your boy, right?
Yeah. And so anyway, so the summer goes by, man. I'm not getting recruited by nobody at this point in time, but I got faith, man. I'm a man of God, so I kept working out. I'm like, man, my grandfather always told me, man, hey, listen, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. Like that's what he told me growing up. So I just prepared, man, as if I was going to college. I would get up 6 a.m, go work out. And after I work out, I would take a break, and I work out again, and then I would go to work because I had a job from 3 to 11. So I would work out from about 6:30 to about 8, then rest for about 30, 45 minutes, then work out again, then go home, take a nap, and then go to work. And so that was pretty much my summer. And so end up getting a call from Bacon, was like, hey, there's a kid that was supposed to come, didn't come. Like, we want to offer that scholarship to you. And so that was literally all like 2 weeks before school started. And so luckily I had been working out the whole summer, man. And, and I went, signed the scholarship. And when I signed the scholarship, because of what happened with the ACT, I had to redshirt my first year. And so after I redshirted, then, I played 4 years and ended up becoming all conference my senior year. Yeah. Coach, take that 8th or 9th off the bench.
Yeah, I mean, the Old Testament of college stories are always hilarious to me.
Great.
Yeah, man.
Because I know it's a whole new world now. So these Old Testament, scholarship stories and all that, it always brings me back into a better time sometimes.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So it's funny that you mentioned that. And when you mentioned Nolan Richardson, my legs instantly got tired, and because the 40 minutes of hell. But Arkansas appears to be back on, I guess, top of the world, the college basketball world, with the Kalapari news. How do you feel about that as a fan of the university?
I mean, I'm kind of twofold, because as much as we want to hype Kalapari up, man, I mean, he does a great job of recruiting, but as far as winning, he doesn't have a track record of winning when it matters.
Right.
And so I've tried to tell people that, like, we might do a good job of getting a whole bunch of NBA guys, but as far as like winning, like, man, he doesn't, his formula doesn't necessarily produce winning, because he's known for getting a whole bunch of one and dones.
Yeah.
So
I'm interested in how, if that changes, just because transfer portal is so big now, and a lot of the older teams are winning. I mean, UConn had vets winning back-to-back national championships. I wonder if maybe his strategy changes a little bit, especially when he got like Jerry Jones money that's pouring in and all kinds of stuff that's pouring into the university.
Yeah,
so I wonder how that looks. So.
No, I to be honest with you, I mean, I don't think it's gonna change, because I know a couple of people who are kind of familiar with him. Like, they don't know him well, but they're familiar with him. And he's always, everywhere he's went since he's left UMass, it's been all about, hey, I'll get you to the NBA. Like, and even if you look at the places that he's went, like Kentucky, before he officially left Kentucky, they were talking about how many players he's put in the NBA and how much money they're making. It was like at 1.8 billion or something in contracts based off of the players that's played for him. So I mean, it's one of the things that, like, me as a player development coach, I like to take like the tall, raw kid that got potential and like turning him into something, or not even the tall, the kid that's raw but got potential, is gonna work hard. Like, I like working with those kids. I don't really want to. I'm not saying I don't work with the elite kids, but I want to take you from nobody, just like EJ said earlier. I want to take you from raw and get you right. And so the thing is with him, he doesn't have a track record for actually developing kids. He wants to get all the McDonald's All-Americans, 5 stars, and the kids that are already ready. And I mean, I'm not saying it like there's something wrong with that, but us as Arkansas fans, we have to be realistic on what he's going to bring to the table. And he's going to bring money. He's going to have sellout crowds. And 5 years from now, he's going to have a whole section worth of NBA players. But as far, you know what I mean, but
Right.
that's pretty much all he's gonna give you because that's all he can say. You know, I mean, that's all he can say. Um, that's
That's
all
his
he.
record.
Yeah,
That's
that's
his
his
record
record.
thus
That's his
far.
track record. That's what he does. You
And it's
know.
going to be interesting to see, right? Like, because now, like Nate said, the portal is a new era, right? So let's see how everybody's adjusting along with that NIL. So, hopefully the kids do stay around a little longer. So maybe that brings an element to it. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see what Kalapari can do because you make a really great point about how, what his track record is of winning. And another great point you made is, and I just went blank, but LeBron's agent. Why did I just go blank?
Rich Paul?
Oh, yeah. Rich Paul kind of said the same thing about the type of people he wants. Like, yeah, he wants those elite, but he does want the type of athletes that are going to work, that are going to put time into becoming a professional athlete. So definitely understand what you're talking about that as far as the kids you want to work with. Mm-hmm. But, hey, man, since we're getting there, let's jump right into it, man. This is what we like to call in the game, and this is what we kind of talk about your career. We're going to spend a really quick, brief part of how you established it, but then get really more into what brought you there. So just kind of starting off, man, you had that journey, right? So after college, you prepared, right? You wanted to get drafted. You started to prepare for the D League, which is now the G League. And then you ultimately fight, you get drafted. You have this adversity, which kind of seems the narrative of life. But just kind of tell us what it was like, man, after you didn't get with the G League and you signed with the UBL League, and actually ultimately to Tulsa where you are right now.
Yeah. So what happened was, man, I graduated college in 2008. And upon graduating, I actually got an invite to the first ever, which is the G League now, but it's a D League back then. Their first ever pre-draft camp in Swanee. I think it's called Swanee, Georgia. It's like Swanee Sports Complex is what it is. And it was like 8 different courts, and throughout these courts, man, we were playing games, and so from that, I end up getting From that, I ended up getting invites to like 3 or 4 different G League tryouts. And so the 66ers, I was the second group of getting cut. It was the Idaho Stampede. I don't know if they're still called the Idaho Stampede, but with them, I was cut. I was the second to last cut from ended up making the squad. Who else? It was with the Memphis Grizzlies. Their G League squad. I think I was in the second to last group of being cut. And so, after going through that 3 times and like being super close, but not really having an opportunity, man, I'll be honest with you, I was devastated. And so I didn't know, so I kind of, basketball had been my life basically since the 5th grade. And so I didn't know, just to be honest with you, I didn't know what I was going to do next. And so what I did, man, I took 6 months off. I didn't go to a basketball gym. I didn't watch basketball on TV. I didn't even go to the weight room. Anything having to do with basketball, I kind of just distanced myself. So therefore I could have a restart. And so that was in 2008. And so what I did was in 2000 and after I did that for 6 months, the beginning of 2009 is whenever I ended up I started working out again and started training. It was this kid by the name of Cameron Terrell. I started training him. And so while I was training him, I just started working out, started get back in shape. And so, 2009 rolls around, man. I started working him out, and we work out for about a year or so. And then just like in college, I got a call, man, from UBL team. Was like, hey, they've heard about your resume in college. They want you to come try out. And so I went and tried out, man, and fortunately, I ended up making the team, and so I ended up playing a season of semi-pro. And so we tried, we focused on traveling in this region. We traveled to Texas a couple times. We traveled to Memphis. We went to Arkansas, Missouri. Just the teams that we were playing was majority in this area. And so, I kind of caught on to the training even before that, like going back to college, my freshman year. I was training. I had a class where I was required to go and mentor a kid. And so with me going and mentoring that kid, all he wanted to do was go outside and play basketball for that hour that I was mentoring him. And so, I kind of liked it back then. And I dip on the dabble a little bit with coaching, but I was like, I don't really want to be a coach, because they don't get paid like that, And so fast forwarding back to the training, the reason why I said that is because I was like, man, I kind of like this, man. I kind of like taking kids who aren't worth nothing and making them something. And so we ended up, I kept training. And then as I kept training, I was like, man, while I was playing semi-pro, I was still training. I was like, man, I don't really want to, I started looking, I was like, man, these dudes they getting younger for one, and I wasn't getting no younger. They getting taller, they jumping higher, and they getting faster. And while they was trending this way, I was trending this way. So after that season, man, I decided, I was like, at the time, man, I'm like 25, 26. I'm like, I ain't playing no NBA, man. Let's just keep it real.
And that's when the training really kind of started picking up.
Yeah. So that's when the training really took off, man. And there was a girl by the name of Leah Smith. So I ended up getting a director job at the YMCA as a sports director. That kind of kept me involved. And so one of my employees who had just finished up playing Division II locally here, school about 40 minutes from my house, called Roger State. And so once that happened, what I ended up doing is once that happened, I ended up working her out. And so my biggest concept, I'm gonna be honest with you, EJ, MH, I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I was like, my concept was simple. It got to be game situation. It has to be full speed, and it has to translate. So those were my three concepts. And so I worked this girl out for a year, and she ended up getting an overseas contract. And one thing that they said is, they was like, we like your ball handling, the way you handle the basketball and the way you are able to get to your spots. And so I was so like, I so didn't know what I was doing, to a point to where, one, I was training these people on my lunch break. I wasn't even in shorts and a t-shirt. I was in slacks, I was in church shoes, and I was in my button down. And that's how I was training when I first started. And so so by the time I got her going, next thing I know, I'm looking up. I got 10 to 12 people coming 3-4 times a week. And I mean, majority of them were Division I or trying to go play overseas. And so, after that, after I got her overseas, she was like, you know what, Chevy, you might should start taking this serious. I was like, you think so? And so it just kind of built from there, man. I mean, and now I got I think last time I looked, I've trained 17 overseas people. I've trained 2 NBA guys. I've trained 1 WNBA girl. I've trained 21 Division I athletes, and I've trained 38 Division II JUCO kids at the moment.
Amazing, man.
Yeah, and actually that's probably going to increase, because that's not counting who I've trained that's going to college starting in the fall. So
kudos to you, man. I mean, we've talked about it a million times on the show, about those transition periods of when something that we've been doing since we were kids, and it seems like it lets you down, but to be able to kind of pick back up and give back to the game the way you are now, it's definitely a kudos to you and in that process for sure, man.
Yeah. No, I just, man, I mean, what I would tell any kid is, I would say, more than anything, man, like, it's okay to like put your all in the basketball, but also be working on something else, man, because that 6 months was probably one of the toughest 6 months of my life, because my identity was basketball. And
Right.
I didn't know once basketball was over with, I didn't know what I was going to do, know?
Right. Yeah. No, that's so real for a lot of individuals here. I always say, like, college, as much as I love college, they don't even care about you doing anything outside of just balling. Like they need you to do what you got to do to make it. We can go on and on about that. So I guess the process of, getting an athlete, seeing what they do, and kind of building a program for do you work with guards, bigs, wings? How does that part work?
No. So I work with every position, man, at every age level. Like, I have anywhere from 2-year-olds on up to pros. So I work with them. I work with them all, man. But for me, whenever I bring a kid in, the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna evaluate them, and then I'm going to talk to both their school ball coach and their AAU coach, because at the end of the day, if I don't talk to those two individuals, then me just running them through drills is a waste of time. So I need to know, what position you play in school ball, what position you play in AAU, and what their expectations are. And then after I do that and we're looking, and I come in and put you through a workout, now I create a whole performance plan for you based off of what needs to take place. So what we're gonna do on the court, what you need to do off the court. I even have a program called the program that is one of my biggest deals right now. It's called Optimal Performance. And so we talk about eating, we talk about sleep, we talk about as far as how to properly lift weights. We go over film sessions, and they have a minimum amount of hours per week they have to be in the gym. So
I love it, man. I'm sorry, Jay. One of the things that is being missed, I always feel that's being missed. There's a lot, it's a competitive market. I know you know that better than most, but I always wonder how the communication is to the high school coach or the AAU coach, because you can have a bag, but if it's not been able to be utilized in game, it's kind of pointless on that.
And then see, the thing is what if you got a bag, but like you got an old school coach that won't let you use your bag?
All right.
Now we wasting our time. So it's like, okay, hey, hey, coach so-and-so, this is Chivas Miller from Discovered Training. I got your player so-and-so. Like, what do you expect him to do? Or what can he do? Can he not do? So if you don't like mid-range, you want him or her shooting threes, then, we need to do a bunch of work shooting threes. And then another thing I take into consideration too is when I'm looking at position, I'm also looking at parents too. Because so, like, case in point, right? The gym, when I came from the gym today, I had a kid he's about to be in the 7th grade and he's 6'2", right? His father is like 6'3", 6'4", and his mom is like 5'7". And so what I'm telling him is, hey, we're working on post moves and stuff, short corner shots, elbow shots right now, but in about 3 months we need to transition to wing stuff.
It might be time to
you see what I'm saying? Because what if I tell all my players, especially the ones that are taller, abnormally tall, what if you never grow another inch today? You're going to be a guard. And so what we need to do is we need to work accordingly, man. We need to work as if you're not going to grow no more, and these are the skills that you need to have. And so even with that dude, that kid, his name is Ryan. It was his first day working out with me, but I already made the transition with his dad. He's like, yeah, man, he's just always been in the post. I said, that's dumb. He was like, what do you mean? I said, that's dumb. I said, if he never grows the inch, another inch in his lifetime, he's going to be a guard. And so I said, you need to put him on an AU team that's going to allow him to freelance and be able to do what he needs to do, and if he grabs the ball off the rim, not give it up to a guard. No, you are the guard. You need to dribble the ball up, and he need to be able to start the fast break. And so it's little nuances like that I try to, give the parents, to let them know, like, hey, like, it's cool. It look cool now, him being bigger than everybody, but he's lacking skill set because of the position that he's playing. So, even if that particular kid goes to the YMCA and he's able to play and just freelance, I mean, that's still a better situation for him than him just getting stuck in the post all day.
That's good stuff, man. So, want to get a little bit because you scout now, right? Like,
I am.
You know, I mean, it has to be a natural. Well, I don't want to say a natural because I don't want to defer, but like to be able to train kids, it has to give you a certain eye when you're out there scouting. You know what I mean? And what made you kind of want to put that, you know, tool in your toolbox?
I'm gonna be honest with you, EJ. I didn't even know this was a career, man.
And that's what we got Black in Sports, right? We want to talk about it.
Hey,
so people
listen,
know.
here's what happened. I have a 2-year-old, which y'all heard him earlier. You know, he got mad because he can open doors now. And the Joker walked in. He walked in on me. I was like, "Oh, dang, what you doing here?" And then his mama came and got him. But the thing is, when I had my first son, going back a little bit, so. I told you I started out training. Well, my training back in about 2012, the training turned into a full AAU program because I had so many kids coming in of the same ages, and they was just like, "Man, why don't you start an AAU program?" So, okay, cool, let's do it. You know, and so I ran that from 2012 to 2022, you know, and I stopped once my first son was born just because, man, I couldn't be at the gym until 10:30 at night. And then having to take home kids. And shout out to my wife because it took her for me to see, you know, how I was living and what I was doing, man. Because I would literally, practice would start at 6. I would have to start at 4, picking kids up and getting them to practice, and then practice over with at 7:30, 8 o'clock. I was spending the next 2 hours taking kids home. You know, and because me, man, I mean, I didn't feel like it was anything because, you know, I love kids, but then once she started kind of putting me on notice, like, Chavis, you do know this kid has stayed with us the last 3 nights, like, you know, and so, but for me, I wanted the lesser fortunate kids to have a platform to be able to go play. So, you know, I was spending my own money a lot of times, and I mean, I wasn't complaining. I'm still not complaining because I was a blessing to the kids. But it turned into, man, before I stopped, I mean, I had when we got our biggest, I had 24 teams. So I had 11 competitive teams, and then I had 13 more of like rec style type teams because I just wanted to provide a platform for kids to be able to play. And so, yeah, but I stopped that in 2022, man, once my oldest son was born and just went into training. So when I stopped in 2022, my program was playing on the prep hoop circuit. And so they called and was like, "Hey, you know, is your team going to be on our circuit?" And I was like, "Well, unfortunately, man, I no longer have NLU, you know, because of the fact that, you know, I have a kid now." He was like, "Well, have you ever thought about scouting?" I was like, "What is that?" You know, like, you know, and so he was like, "Well, I'm gonna hook you up with my particular supervisor, you know, he'd give you more information." I was like, "Okay, cool." So they called me, man, and I'll be honest with y'all, I didn't necessarily want to do it at first, you know, but then it got to a point to where they just stayed on me and was like, "Hey, you know, we really do need somebody like you because of your resume, so on and so forth." And so I ended up did it. So I started with prep hoops, did that for a couple of years, and then back in June, I actually transferred over to Recruit Look. And so I've been working with them, you know, these last couple of months, man. And I love it, man. I mean, being able to scout, one of my scout mentors basically was like, "Hey, like, you can go a long way with this because you've seen it, you played it, you know, you've coached it, and you train it." You know, he was like, most people they're lucky if they can check off 2 of those boxes.
Absolutely.
And so, I mean, me just looking and evaluating talent, yes, it is kind of a cheat code, me being a player development coach, because now, you know, this is something I do on a regular basis. So when I'm calling a college coach and they understand my background, they're like, "Okay, he really does know what he's doing."
And it's already paid dividends, man. I mean, we got to chop it up a little bit at Summer League, and you know, you were able, like you shared with me, Summer League kind of brought you up, and you were able to kind of do some of the scouting, but also while you're there scouting, you were able to do some of your training. You know, they brought you in for the 2K thing. So, I mean, that's congrats on that, man. That's big.
I appreciate it. Yeah, man. I'm just, you know, I mean, I've been, you know, my friends have really been on me about about telling people what I'm doing. I think I shared that with you, EJ. Like for me, man, I just do the work and don't really tell nobody and just kind of fly under the radar. And that's been cool. But I feel like God is calling me higher in this next season of my life as far as like telling people what I'm doing and really, really just I wouldn't say being cocky, but being confident in who I am and what I've done. Not saying that I'm not a confident individual, but I mean I've just always been a person that I just do the work and don't really never even say anything about it. So and that's how it even happened with getting opportunity at the summer league is, somebody we were on a conference call and I was just sitting there chilling, minding my own business, and basically another one of my mentors was like, "Boy, if you don't speak up," I'm like, "Yes, sir."
I'm on it.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm on it. All right, man. Just so we can kind of keep it moving, man. Right now, we're going to jump into the quick hits. MH, you ready?
Yes, sir. So just some quick hit questions for our listeners to kind of get you to know you better.
Okay.
A go-to snack. Do you have a go-to snack?
Peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
You an evening person or are you a morning person?
I'm a morning person. I try to get up at 3 or 4 in the morning. I'm not always successful with it, but I try to get up 3, 4 in the morning, do my devotion, try to be at the gym by about 5:30 to get my day started. I feel like the more hours you are up, the more of an advantage you have over everybody else.
I feel it. I think we got into this a little bit pre-show, but Apple or Android, green button or green bubbles or blue bubbles?
Apple all day, baby. Apple all day.
Boy, there's some stuff I can say. I'm gonna keep it to myself.
EJ, don't you do me like that, man?
Yeah, that's funny. You travel by air or you traveling by land? How you getting around?
It depends. It depends on how much time I got. Yeah, it depends on how much time I got. I mean, I equally like both.
Okay.
I mean, if now I will say it's harder for me to drive anything past 6 hours. I mean that's what I always tell people. But if I'm going, I also like adventures. So if I'm going somewhere I've never been before and I got a lot of time, then I wouldn't mind driving just so I can sightsee.
Okay.
So.
Okay. I just lost the question. What makes you feel hopeful?
What makes me feel hopeful is seeing my hard work pay off in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Yeah. So I mean, perfect example. Me doing this scouting, and then now I'm at the summer league, and even just a glimpse of success, like knowing that the hard work is paid off some way, form, or fashion. That's what makes me hopeful.
We might get into this as we get down on the show, but a book that might help shape your career, so to speak.
It's a book called When the Body Says No. And so what that book is about, man, that book is about eliminating stress. And when you're eliminating stress, like basically knowing when to say no to things that you don't want to do. Me, I at times I like to make people happy, but for me, I also have to draw the line, so that goes back to with my wife. People was calling me 10, 11 o'clock at night. My wife was like, "Hey, no calls after 10." I'm like, "Yes, ma'am."
Yes, ma'am.
So no. For me, I think the book I love reading, and there's been a bunch of books that have shaped my life. But I would say, When the Body Says No, and then it's another book called Ego is the Enemy. So yeah, those two more than anything.
My last one: physical strength or mental strength?
Mental strength, because mentally, if you're strong mentally, you can do anything you put your mind to physically. If you're physically strong and you're weak mentally, then there's only so far you can go.
Love it.
Oh, man. Good stuff, Mage. All right, man, let's jump into the winner's circle, man. This is definitely the platform. We love the time that we spend, but we also want to make sure that, we get to hear all the great things that, our guests are doing. And one of the things that when we talked pre-show and got the prep stuff from you is you do an annual camp, showcase. Because you do a camp, so I do want to decipher on the both.
Yeah.
And, your second annual one's coming up here in September, but I want to talk to you about kind of telling about what the Discovery Showcase is.
Okay.
That way, so people can kind of know what it kind of encompasses, and then why you decided to do that.
Yeah. So Discover Showcase, man, is September 21st is our second annual one. Let me say that right. But the thing is, the reason why I decided to do it is because, especially going into when we're talking about portal and stuff like that, showcases have become a situation to where it's hard for college coaches to be able to pick out good talent. And so for me in doing the showcase is I wanted to provide a platform for those kids who are college prospects and just need the right eyes on them. I've been fortunate. I thank the Lord that I do have the resources with college coaches to be able to kind of reel them in. And for me, all the college coach relationships that I have personally, they know that when I call that I'm not bluffing them about a kid. And so me knowing that and me having major respect as a player development coach in the basketball realm, I decided to do Discover Showcase last year, and we had a total of 4 college coaches in attendance and over 20 online, which resulted in 5 offers being given out to showcase. And so this year, I'm up in the game and I'm challenging myself to get 10 offers. And so last year we only invited 40 kids, and so this year we're actually doubling it to 80 kids. And so my goal is 80 kids, man, 10 offers, man. And so we gonna see what we can do, man. I'm just, one thing that I promised God is that if he ever gave me the resources to help, that I wouldn't hoard it and that I would do exactly that and help. And so I'm just fulfilling the promise that I promised God, man.
Now, does the showcase feature all upperclassmen, or is it
No,
how do you get into it? Yeah.
No, so what we do is we feature like probably 60% of it is 25s, but then it's scattered down the rest. So like what we did is we invited the top 10 2028s that we could find, just 10 of them, because in at the end of the day, they can't even get recruited until June 15th of their sophomore year. So, so the coaches might look at them, but in reality, them actually getting recruited and scouted isn't as likely. So we focused heavy on the sophomores, juniors, and seniors because at the end of the day, man, Oklahoma, as quiet as it's kept, we do have some hoopers here in Oklahoma. And so I want to put these Oklahoma kids, and not only these Oklahoma kids, but these kids within this region, all these states touching Oklahoma. It's some hoopers in this region. And so I want to be able to showcase that, to these college coaches. And what better way to do that is through a showcase to where, whenever you come to this showcase, you're going to walk away knowing being aware of some new kids you didn't know about.
How do they get involved? Is it because I know you said you're selecting the top? Is there some way that they can?
So if they
get noticed?
So if they feel like their kid, if a coach feels like their kid is good enough to go to something like that, then what they would need to do is email me some film so we can watch them. And then if I feel like if we're interested, then I'll reach out and ask for more information. And if not, then we'll just move on. But yeah, it's definitely invite only. It's not one of the things where we say it's invite only, but we're accepting everybody. Like it is, it is very selective in how we're doing it. This is an exclusive camp, and we want the best kids available. Although we're saying the region, to be honest with you, y'all, within a year or two, this is going to be a national camp. And so if we have some kids from Vegas or some kids from the West Coast that want to come down and want to get them extra looks, hey, shoot me a message and let's see what we can do. Because right now we have, I think I've had one kid from Virginia reach out to me. I've had a kid from Georgia reach out to me. I've also had actually 2 kids from Hawaii reach out to me about the camp. So we're already trending in that way as far as it being more of a national camp versus just a regional type of situation.
That's good stuff, man. Go ahead, MH.
No. Go ahead.
So how can our listeners and just us knowing how we can support, right? Like if there's things, because putting on that is definitely, I'm sure there's some financial, even from the exposure thing, right? So, every year we can clip up this and promote it so people know that it's going on, because I can't wait to hear it till it's a national thing. And not to put MH's business out there, but his brothers are in the basketball game as well. So, if there's like access to other coaches. So what are just maybe like list, 3 or 4 things that would help you guys be more successful on this annual showcase?
I would say number one, just going and following us on all our social media, and when we post something, just sharing it, because you never know what coach doesn't follow me and follow my people, but that they follow MH's brothers. Secondly, is if you have a kid that you feel like needs some extra exposure, tell them to contact me, man. I mean, I'm not against kids coming from other areas. Like I said, I mean, it's going to be a national thing, man. And if we need to start now, then hey, let's start doing that now. Third thing would be is if you know of any coaches, that are in need of players, basically send them our way. If they can't come to Oklahoma, then we'll have a live stream. It'll be live streamed by Baller TV, and so we'll be able to give them that live stream. So therefore, they can watch. And hey, last but not least, man, just any advice that you can give me or any connections that people can give me, because we also do plan on leaving Oklahoma and going to other areas and doing this showcase. So we can get a different crowd of kids and even a different crowd of coaches. So if you have connects to help make that happen and want to be a part of my team to help me make that happen, I am down. I'm willing to work with anybody. My only thing is, listen, be genuine, be honest, and no drama. If you can fulfill those 3 things, then we'll be just fine in working together.
Yeah, and I mean, we could talk more about this off camera, but if the players, right? Obviously, they're invites. So as far as academics wise, they're all up to standard and everything like that. I know that could be a barrier for some schools.
No, they wouldn't necessarily have to be up to standard. The reason why I say that is because we'll have JUCOs there as well.
Got it.
So it's not just so I mean, it'll be all levels. Now Division Ones, because a lot of kids in the past have asked, is there going to be Division One coaches there? Listen, if anybody does a showcase in the fall and they tell you that Division One coaches are going to be there, they are lying to you, because they can't come to events like that. They can watch online, but they can't come. So no, there will not be Division One coaches in attendance. There will be some watching, but there won't be none in attendance. So it'll be Division Two and lower. So if you're a kid that you feel like you're a college prospect and you just need some important eyes on you, then hey, the Discover Showcase is where you're gonna want to be, most definitely.
Yeah, and this is not to disparage anybody else. So when I ask this question, this is just uplifting you. What sets you apart from the rest?
I think what sets me apart from the rest is 3 things. One, I have the experience. I've been doing this. I'm 40 and I've been doing this for almost 20 years. That's first and foremost. 2, I have the relationships. And so if you can't play, I can make a phone call and make some stuff happen for you. And 3, I'm honest. Like I'm not out here trying to get over on you or your kid. I'm gonna be honest with you. If I feel like you can play at this level, I'm not gonna tell you or your kid that you're a Division I basketball player and really you should be playing at the Division II level. And I would even say the 4th thing is, whenever I'm calling coaches about your particular kid, I'm doing it based off of fit. So if your kid is a up and down type of kid, I'm not going to call a coach that says, hey, come down and run 1, because that doesn't fit your kid. And I feel like that's a lot where people will be like, oh, well, I got this circle of coaches and I just blast. I'm not doing that. Like I'm very intentful. Like I want to know what your major is. Like I'm helping a kid here locally right now. I'm not gonna do the confidentiality purpose. I'm not gonna say his name, but he's an engineer. So why would I send him to a school that doesn't have engineering as one of the top programs? Because that don't work for him.
Correct.
So what I have to do is I have to find schools that have an engineering program that give out scholarships. He's a smart kid, so now what he can also do is he has more options because not only can he play basketball, not only does he want to be an engineer, he's a really smart kid. So my options are a little bit more for him versus somebody else. Yeah, so
that's beautiful.
Love it, man. That's really good stuff. And then, speaking of honest, man, so here's that part, right? How do you tell the mom that loves her baby and put you in the program that this is maybe a waste of money? Like, how do you have that? And maybe it's not a waste of money, right? Like, maybe they just want to be good through their high school or whatever days. But how do you kind of approach that when, like, the kid gets on and you do the first session? How do you handle that matter?
So by the time we get to the first session, I've already interviewed the parent or the kid, and I know whether it's a good fit. So if they've gotten to where we even get to the first evaluation, then they're already a good fit. I mean, most parents don't know that, but there's been parents that be like, yeah, you're not really a good fit for what I'm wanting to do. Like I had a parent, this was probably about 6 months ago. What ended up happening was he said that, his kid is just trying to learn how to play the game. He don't really like people raising his voice, this, that, and the other. He's not really trying to be serious with it. And I'm like, well, man, I'm gonna be honest with you, you're probably not a good fit for me because I'm definitely gonna raise my voice. And I definitely take this serious. And so him being around me, he's just trying to have fun. Like that's not really who I am. Like I tell people, I don't care how good you are, man. Like if you're willing to work hard and you want to get better, I'm gonna work with you. But a lot of times, whenever I've had to dismiss a kid or dismiss an entire family, it's because they just not working hard. They're not trying to get better. And that doesn't mean that kid is a bad kid. But one thing I do realize is that not every kid is a good fit for me. So not every kid is my kid. I'm not everybody's coach, and I'm okay with that. So yeah. Nice. So to answer your question, EJ, I mean, I tell them I'm just honest with them, man. I mean, I'm brutally honest. I mean, and sometimes it works for me, sometimes it works against me, but I'm okay with that.
It gives you peace at the end of the day that you don't have to deal with that, brother.
Yes.
All right, so we're coming up to the close, man. They said time moves fast when you're having fun, man. So we call this part of the show the assist, man. And this is where we kind of let you put your coaching hat on, or you can just drop a kind of either a quote that you live by, something you would tell your younger self or our younger audience, but just kind of drop us with a quick coaching gem.
I mean, for me, man, my saying with all my kids is strong mind, strong body. And it goes back to what MH asked me. Like that's my saying. So when my kids get whenever they get to their lazy spell and they get tired and they want to make excuses, that's what I'm saying. Strong mind, strong body. And so the challenge or what I would tell anybody to do if they're building a kid is start out with the mental and then allow the physical to follow, because we have a lot of skilled kids out here who are weak mentally and aren't going to go very far. There's been a whole bunch of more guys who are strong mentally and the physical followed, and they made it a whole lot further. I'll give you a quick story, right? So old college roommate, my senior year in college, right? Dude looked like Flavor Flav. But when I say this dude was confident as heck, man, he felt like he could get any young lady he wanted. And I'm gonna be honest with you, 9 times out of 10, he got them. But it wasn't. And I remember we were in the dorm room, and so he had to go get something, and so it was just me and her. So I just asked her. I said, "Why him?" She was like, "It has nothing to do with his looks. He's just so dang confident." I said, "Okay."
Biggie Smalls, okay. black and ugly as ever.
Hey,
however,
listen, that brother wear a black man, and you can't see that brother. But and so at that point, my senior year in college, I realized like how important confidence is. And he'll tell you, he was athletic but couldn't hoop worth the dang. But man, you get on that court, and he gonna man, I'll bust your tail, whoop de whoop, this, that, and other. He was confident. You know, and so the thing is, you got to build confidence, man. Strong mind, strong body.
Love it. All right, man. So, MH, man, we're about to get out of here, but MH, final thoughts?
No, man, appreciate you, man. This has been absolutely amazing, and you know, we'll definitely support how we can, and I'd love to see the showcase growing, and excited to watch it as it grows down the years, man.
Yes, sir. Well, hey, I definitely appreciate you, EJ, MH. I definitely appreciate y'all having me, you know, here in Oklahoma, man. Shout out to Vegas. Y'all doing big things. Hey, and I am honored and thankful that y'all allowed me to be a guest on y'all podcast.
Man, blessings, man. Both ways, man. So we thank you for making the time. Shout out, man. We're excited to see this stuff grow. You know, we're going to support any and every way we can. We're going to put all of your social handles in the show description so people can follow you, get to know that, just so there's, like you said, that buzz. And we're going to make sure everybody follow those. Other than that, man, just want to, Chivas, thank you again, man, for jumping on and just continued success. Thank you for all the people listening, man. I hope you enjoyed the show. As you know, we drop new episodes every Thursday, so please subscribe to the YouTube channel because visual representation matters. If you see it, you can be it. Also, you know what we say, man. Stay safe, practice gratitude, and know we're rooting for you.
Screaming, all us blacks got is sports and entertainment until we even.
Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Yeah. Yeah. Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Yo. Look. Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Spent about 2 racks on handmade new rags. Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. That's everybody from sports to college class to rap.